My name's Emma Weston. I run Emma Weston Illustration, and I'm an illustrator working with businesses, translating difficult or complex or difficult to understand information into easy, colourful visuals so that people actually read them. So some of the challenges I was experiencing were probably, the biggest one was just a lack of direction. I'd got to that point in my business where I felt that it was running me rather than me. I didn't really feel in control of it. I didn't have a real sort of kind of outline of who my ideal client was. I didn't really know who I was selling to. I do run another business, which is another creative business, which is quite similar. But again, it was two different clients, two different conversations, and I was really struggling to articulate who I wanted to work with and why I wanted to do it. And as a result, I wasn't really hitting the mark. Anyway, that was the kind of biggest challenge. The Success GPS format, I think, worked for me within, I did the group Success GPS program, and I liked the way that it was broken down into kind of bite-sized sections, I suppose. The program and the syllabus was easy to understand, it was actionable, and it was really, the way it was delivered was easy to follow. And there was, to all intents and purposes, at the beginning of my journey, I needed a bit of hand-holding. I needed somebody to kind of talk me through all of the stages, where I was, what I needed to go, because at the time, I didn't actually know where I needed to be. I never really had started to have those questions of what's my 5-year and my 10-year plan. I didn't really have those answers, so there needed to be a little bit of teasing out of those. I liked the program in the sense that it was quite simple to follow, albeit with a little bit of kind of guided help along the way. But I also liked how I can go back to it and I can review it. So the kind of the manual and the whole syllabus is there in my handwriting, and I can revert back to it at times when I could do with a bit of a refresher, or when things have changed and developed as the business is growing. There probably was no one big thing that shifted for me, and I was kind of thinking about this to myself this week. I mean, that's perhaps not the main thing everybody wants to hear. There was no fireworks on that last session to be like, that's it, everything's in place, business is going to fly. But I think for me, the biggest thing was more of a kind of personal development and a personal growth. My understanding of what my business needed to do and needed to be, and what I needed to do to get it there, was more of a slow growth. And it was only maybe sort of kind of 6-8 weeks after the last session, and we kind of checked in a few times, that I really started to notice things were kind of moving in a better direction. And each time something good happens within my business, or I kind of see a kind of element of growth, I can revert it back to the things that I picked up during that process. And each time, like I say, I've gone back and I've reviewed some of the Success GPS kind of modules and some of the sections that have maybe changed along the way, and I've gone and redone them, and that's helped again. So it's a kind of evolutionary process that keeps repeating itself. So I suppose my business was born out of the Success GPS program. I had done the program at the beginning, and I really, on another business that I currently run, and then was sitting at a networking event one day and I was drawing pictures. That's how I create notes and how I absorb information. And somebody in the room asked me if they could keep the notes, because it was actually to do with their business. So I gave them to her, and then somebody else in the room said I could do with a customer journey doing that. I quite like that style. So off the back of that, I had about 3 projects within the week, and from that, Emma Weston Illustration was born. Really, it didn't really exist before that, but the knowledge and the experience that I'd kind of gained from Success GPS was what created the opportunity. I think I could see the opportunity that was there for this type of service that I now offer, and I was able to capitalise on that in a better way than I think I would have done prior to the Success GPS program, because I wasn't really in that room and I wasn't really aware of that kind of need and how I could fill that gap. The program has impacted, like, me personally, on a million different facets, to be honest. I'm more confident. I'm more confident in myself, but I'm also more confident within my business, especially because it is such a young business. It was so new at the beginning. That imposter syndrome kind of affects everybody, and I think everybody gets to a point where you think, am I doing the right thing? Who am I to stand in a room and tell people that they should draw pictures in their business? But the growth and that kind of trajectory that I can see the business going on, that it's been moving on in the last 12 months, has helped cement that confidence, and it's allowed me to kind of roll with it and push it in a direction that I probably wasn't prepared for. I also won a Red Rose Award last month, so that was another reason that sort of cemented it in that actually this business it's in the right place and it's doing the right things and it's being recognised for what I wanted to be recognised for. The most helpful aspect of it was the a kind of combination of it being, although it was a group program and there was a lot of people, there was other people, other businesses in the room, each session was quite tailor-made to us as individuals. So as much as it was delivered by the growth guide as a kind of general kind of quote that the project section that day, we kind of went into more detail of each other's individual business, and the group aspect that I worked with really worked for me because there was a lot of comparisons and a lot of kind of a sharing of information. It was quite collaborative, but I liked the fact that it was actionable and it was direct. So the information that we got, there was no sort of kind of wishy-washy sort of kind of direction. Oh, this is the kind of 5-year plan and this is where we're going to get to. I needed to know what I need to do in the next 3 months. And it was we reverse engineer these big plans right down to the next 90 days. And then those 6 or 10 steps, you have to do this in these next 3 months, made a massive difference because it gave me something that I could get my teeth into. And then each 90 days we could review them and have another look. And right back to the very basics of, I suppose, your ideal client and your value proposition statement and all of those things that I thought I knew until you actually have to start writing it down and picking it apart and realize that you're not actually targeting the right people. So that kind of tailor-made approach to each individual in the room, I think, made a massive difference because it made it personalised. If you're watching this thinking, this sounds like something I might need to do, I would say if you're at a point where you're already questioning that, you probably do need to do it. I didn't really know whether it was what I needed, but I did know that I needed some help. I needed some kind of a little bit of direction. I needed a bit of support. If you're at a stage where I suppose a bit like me, where you're right at the beginning and you need a little bit of a clearer direction on how to get started on that plan. But also, I suppose, if you're a little bit longer in the tooth and you've got a lot of experience within one particular type of your business, but you've reached that sort of you've reached stalemate, you've reached a section where you're ready for that next stage of growth, that's where you would need to go as well. You need that extra kind of push in the right direction. And another pair of eyes on your business, I think, goes a long way. Sometimes it's very difficult at times to zoom out, and we get bogged down in the weeds of running the business day to day. And sometimes we need somebody else to help us up with a bit of direction, to zoom out and look at the overall picture and where we want it to go.